What game should I do for my first review? Maybe I should do a popular game that a lot of people want to hear about. Maybe something along the lines of, no, they've already been talked about a million times. Maybe I should do a really hard game to impress the viewers. Maybe something like, no, what's this doing here? Whatever. Maybe I'm just thinking too hard about this. Maybe I should just do a simple, easy game to have fun with, right? Here, I'll just spin the wheel. Alright, here we go. And... hold on a minute. And, oh look, we got Kirby! Nice, alright, let's start the Kirby review. I said let's start the Kirby review. Hi, my name is Radtad, and today I'll be reviewing Kirby Planet Robobot. Being my first review, it might be a bit, all over the place, but as I start making more and more videos, I should hopefully get better over time. The way my reviews work is that they'll be split up into different segments that will come together to give a final score at the end. Kind of like a couple of mini reviews that come together to make one big one. The different sections that will be ranked are the story, the gameplay, the presentation, the cost to length, and the bonus times and collectibles. These 5 sections will each be worth 20 points, and they will come together at the end to get a main total out of 100. Once I get that score, I'll use my overall opinion of the game, mixed with the total to get the final score. Got it? Good. With that out of the way, let's start the review. Kirby Planet Robobot is, well, a Kirby game, and if there's 2 things you should know about Kirby games, it's that Kirby games are A, extremely easy, and 2, extremely fun. As you can see, Kirby games aren't exactly known for their groundbreaking stories. I mean, the original Kirby game on the Game Boy story was literally that King Dedede stole food and Kirby had to get it back. That's it. But to be fair, that's all the story that it needed. The developers focused on gameplay much more than story, and that's part of what makes Kirby games so great. Anybody can go in and play, video game fan or not. Now, with that out of the way, let's actually get into the story. One day, Kirby is just sitting around doing whatever Kirby does, when suddenly, BAM! A giant robot alien ship invades all of Popstar and takes over the planet and its inhabitants, turning almost everyone and everything into half-robot things because of science. Kirby is able to fight off a robot that was roaming around the planet, and he takes over for himself. In classic Kirby fashion, he knows how to use the technology right away. After that, he goes through the worlds level by level for a while actually. It's not till the very end of World 3 that we get any more story from this game. Kirby meets Susie, a secretary for Mr. Hultman, CEO of the Hultman Works Company, an evil company who wants to take over the universe one planet at a time. Kirby, of course, doesn't like that very much, so he sends Susie back to where she came. I don't really want to spoil any more of the story, so if you want to see more, you can go find out for yourself. The score for the story is a solid 15 out of 20. It's a Kirby story. It does exactly what it needs to do without overstaying its welcome. It's nothing special, of course, but it doesn't really need to be. It's Kirby. Alright, I'll just get this out of the way. Kirby games gameplay is always amazing. The way you move, the way you play, the level design, the bosses, the Robobot armor, everything about this game's gameplay is stellar. Instead of going on and on and on about all the amazing things, I'll just focus on these 3 main things. The abilities, the Robobot armor, and the level design. The level design is very, very good. It's most of the same from other Kirby games, but the game includes one feature that the other games don't have. 3D. Well, not really 3D, more like, well, here, I'll just show you. Although it looks like just a little thing, it really shakes up the formula of the normal 2D levels. The normal levels also have very good design. The game is very easy, whether it be easy puzzles or easy boss fights, well, for the most part, and easy to use power-ups, which leads me to The power-ups. The power-ups are simple enough to use that a beginner could spam and get results, while an experienced player could do some serious damage with them. Back in the day, the power-ups used to only have one attack, but in this game, some of the power-ups have 4 pages filled with different moves. The moves can range from a lot of things, from light combo attacks, to slow, heavy-hitting moves, to charge-up moves, to projectiles, and all in between. The 3 new power-ups, those being Poison, Doctor, and ESP, are all very fun and good to use. ESP is overpowered, plain and simple. You can teleport out of pretty much anything and it does damage. It's ridiculous. By the way, this may seem a bit off topic, but that hat seems to remind me of a certain someone. I can't seem to pinpoint who it is though. Whatever. Poison is also very good. It can deal a ton of damage, some attacks being up close, some being projectiles, and others being used for puzzles. They're fast, pack a punch, and are easy to use. Doctor is also another great addition. Most of the attacks are projectiles that will take out most weak enemies. The main thing with Doctor is the charge-up ability, where Kirby quickly brews a random potion that can either save it for later or use it right there. Again, very fun to use. The final thing I'm going to be talking about gameplay-wise is the Robobot armor, which is the best gimmick that has been added in recent Kirby history. The gimmick thing has been tried before in past Kirby titles, usually not ending very well. In Return to Dreamland, Kirby has the ultimate abilities, which look cool but feel more like unskippable cutscenes once you play as them for a while. The same thing can be said for Kirby Triple Deluxe with the Hypernova ability. With the Robobot, however, it feels like an upgraded Kirby. It's stronger, smarter, and most importantly, faster. The other gimmick power-ups from the fast game felt like cutscenes as said before, because they were so slow. The Robobot armor feels fast, fluent, and fun to use. My favorite ability for the armor is Cutter. Shooting those buzzsaws and wrecking everything in Kirby's path feels awesome. Overall, the gameplay gets a perfect score of 20 out of 20. I don't really think I need to explain why. I think the best thing this game has, well, besides the gameplay, is the presentation. All of the sound effects sound so nice, like they just fit perfectly with everything. Whether it be clicking a button on the menu or the sound that Kirby's sword makes while slicing, it just sounds right. I know it's a small thing to mention, but it really makes a difference when you play the game for a while. Also, the graphics are amazing. Everything has a cartoon kind of style that the developers have mastered, and it looks great. I mean, watching the graphics on this big screen doesn't look as impressive, but imagine looking at it from a 3DS screen and it becomes a lot better. The music is pretty good too, with there being some old tracks coming back and remixed as bangers. A lot of the tracks have that kind of techno feel to them, and that kind of goes through with the entire game. There was about one track that I didn't like. The rest were either good or great. Overall, the presentation also gets a perfect score of 20. Everything is laid out in such a nice way for casual players and hardcore completionists to both enjoy. From the music, to the sound effects, to the menus, everything in this game is top-notch presentation-wise. Now this little section is very subjective depending on the person. See, I'm the type of player who wants to get a lot of hours out of a game while having a lot of quality content. I mean, who doesn't? I'm not really a fan of short games, especially when they cost a lot of money. I know what some of you are saying, but it shouldn't matter how long you play, it should matter the content inside. I mean, I kind of agree, but I don't want to play $60+ for 6 hours of content, regardless of how good the content really is. Even if it is a really good game, if it was as good as I was saying, then I would replay it, and the time would become increased because of how good it was. A game that would get a perfect score on this segment, for me at least, is Smash 4. So far, I've clocked around 800 hours, including the 3DS and Wii U version combined, and that's incredible. It goes above and beyond expectations. Now, for Kirby, I give it a 17 out of 20. So far, I've clocked about 23.5 hours in the game, and I've 100% completed my file, meaning I've beaten everything that the game has to offer. For a $49.99 game, 23 hours seems kind of low, But I think there's kind of a threshold where as long as a game that costs $49.99 is longer than, say, 20 hours, then the price is fair. If it's $59.99, then 30 to 35 hours, and it goes up and up and up. So the length and cost is pretty good. Nothing special, just average. I wish it wasn't the case, because I really wanted more of this game because it was that good. In every level, there can range from 1 to 3 of these code cubes that you can use to unlock the boss level from each world. Me, being a kind of casual completionist, wanted to get them all. There are also these stickers that you can get from levels. These stickers can be plastered onto your Robobot armor. They don't do anything for the stats, it's just a visual change. There's not much of a reason to get them if you're a casual player, but if you want to collect them all, you can still do it pretty easily. There are also these gold stickers that can be either in plain sight or in extremely obscure places. Just watch this. I mean, really? How is anybody supposed to figure that one out? Anyways, after you beat the main campaign and the final boss, you will have the opportunity to play Meta Nightmare Returns. It's an extremely awesome mode where you play as the beast Meta Knight himself and blast through everything in your way. Before going into the other modes, I should talk about the two minigame type of modes for this installment, those being Team Kirby Clash and Kirby 3D Rumble. Team Kirby Clash is a fun little minigame where you play with CPU helpers or your friends to take down a boss. It's pretty fun even if you play with CPU helpers because they're pretty smart. You can choose from one of 4 classes, which are all pretty diverse and fun to use. Once you beat all the bosses and get perfect scores, there's really no reason to go back. It's fun while it lasts, but short. Kirby 3D Rumble is surprisingly good. It gives us a look at what a 3D Kirby game would look like. Kirby hasn't had a real 3D installment almost ever, and the team has made it very fun to use. The gameplay is fun and a nice mix-up from the classic formula, but it has one major downfall: the length. It only has 3 levels with 3 very similar bosses, which sucks because it was so fun to play. I would like to see an entire main series game in the style of this minigame alone. Now back to the normal stuff. So, after beating Meta Nightmare Returns, you unlock the Arena. The Arena is a boss rush mode where you have limited healing items between boss fights when you try to beat all the bosses to get to the very end. Once you've beat that, you unlock the, oh god, true Arena. Now, this is where things get weird. You expect a Kirby game to be easy, right? Just a fun walk in the park with your pal Kirby, right? Well, wrong. The true Arena will suck you up, grind you into dust, spit you out, suck the dust back up again, grind the dust, turn the grinded dust into nothing more than powder, and then basically it's really, really hard. Oh, and especially the final boss. And wait, before I talk about the final boss, I should put up a spoiler warning. If you don't want to be spoiled of the final boss, skip to this timestamp. Got it? Good. Now, back to the boss. The boss essentially has 8 sections split up into 5 separate fights. The final boss is ruthless. It's nothing but hopes and expectations that get blasted up and down over and over and over again. The first phase is where you beat Mr. Hultman, which of course isn't the final fight, you already know that. Then you fight Queen Sectonia, the final boss from Triple Deluxe, and this dark matter guy that I can't remember the name of right now, sorry. After that, you fight one of my favorite bosses in gaming history, Galactic Knight. He's extremely hard and unforgiving, but once you figure out his patterns, you can still deal with him. If you're somehow still alive after that, you go on to fight this Super Death Machine PC in an on-rail shooter type of game mode, which is actually really fun, but very intense with the low HP that you have. So, if you manage to kill him, he, of course, comes back even stronger, taking over the entire ship that took over Popstar for himself just to attack you. If you somehow still have enough HP left to kill that form, don't get your hopes up. there's one last form. It turns out that the ship was the Sun Planet from Kirby Superstar Ultra. Now, this is the final boss of the original campaign, and it's very, very hard. So, if you somehow manage to kill it, then congratulations, you've finally beaten the true arena. Is what I would say if it was the final form. As Kirby goes in to deliver the finishing blow, the sun sucks Kirby up to fight the core. If you somehow, and I really mean it this time, are some way able to beat the final form, which one of the attacks does half of your health, not even that you have half, or even a quarter of your HP left, mind you, then finally rest easy knowing you beat the true arena. Ha! Psych again! The core didn't have one last thing. It had one final self-destruct attack that looks like a cutscene, and I didn't know you could fight in it because you don't dodge everything. And I'm saying if you knew that you were still playing, it's really unfair and tough, because if you start bringing up, you just come out of the box and then it goes to one final. Yeah, it took me like 4 hours. 20 out of 20 would have the life sucked out of me again. Overall, this game is amazing, easily one of the best platformers I have ever played. It's fun, easy, for the most part, decently length, well designed, and overall a great game. Almost everything about the game, whether it be music, the visuals, the gameplay, everything is just so great. The only people I wouldn't recommend this game to are the people looking for a challenge, because the only challenge you'll find here is the true arena, and you'll basically have to go through all the easy stuff before getting to that. But I would recommend it to everybody else, because Kirby is a series that understands fun and what it means to be a solid gaming experience for everybody, whether it be to new gamers or for fans that have been here for a while. Adding up the scores, we get grand total of 93 out of 100. The other 7 points were either taken off from story, which, let's be honest, really isn't important for a Kirby game, or the cost to length, which was only worth 2 points, or 0.2 on the review scale. Using what I've said before, I want you to decide for yourself if you want to buy it and make a review score of your own. Something as simple as a number shouldn't really be a game seller. But if you are the type of person to want a definitive score, I would personally give it a 97 out of 100 or a 9.7 out of 10. I love platformers, I love Kirby, I love good games. I hope you'll try it out. Hope you liked my review. Wow, already off to a great start. I know I don't have many viewers right now, and I know my content could get a lot better, so if you could leave a like, share the video, or send some constructive criticism my way, that would be great. Thanks, and I'll see you guys soon. Radtad out. Or signing off. Just cut the footage. Just cut the footage.